Welcome to Jazz Piano Skills. I'm Dr. Bob Lawrence. As always, it's time for you to turn off your eyes and turn on your ears. No video, no distracting images, no pop-ups, no advertisements. Just great educational content for you to hear, for you to discover, learn, and play. But before we dig in, I want to share with you some thoughts regarding my Jazz Piano Skills podcast. I am entirely aware of the fact that some of you listening already have advanced skills. Some of you are intermediate players, while others of you are ranked beginners. My podcast, however, does not cater to any specific group. The reason being is that regardless of where you are in your jazz journey, it never hurts to hear and reflect upon a variety of musical skills. Even if you feel you have already mastered the skill or you think it's beyond your current level. Either way, you want to be committed to immersing yourself in the jazz language with every opportunity that presents itself. In doing so, there is a very good chance that you will hear things presented in a different way that can illuminate new paths for you to explore. All that to say that the goal of my Jazz Piano Skills podcast is to offer something for everyone, from the beginner to the advanced player. Last week, we looked at traditional shell voicings. Today, we are going to explore contemporary shell voicings. As I mentioned last week, when you study voicings, you are exploring various ways to actually play chords. Various ways to arrange the notes of the chord so that they produce a stylistically correct sound for the genre of music you are wanting to perform. In other words, you would voice chords one way to create a stylistically correct rock sound, another way to produce a traditional country sound, and still another way to play a classic jazz sound. The contemporary shell voicings we are about to explore today, without a doubt, create a unique sound that has become a staple in the jazz piano world. A unique sound in that the contemporary jazz voicing is characteristically built around the interval of a fourth, which is quite different than traditional voicings, which are built around the interval of a third, originating from Western European classical music. Okay, let's jump in and construct these contemporary shell voicings for the 5 primary sounds of music: major, dominant, minor, half diminished, and diminished. As I did last week with the traditional shell voicings, I will be using the C chord family to construct the contemporary shell voicings and presenting 2 voicing options for each sound. So here we go. C major. Chord voicing option 1 will be E, A, and D, or the 3rd, 6th, and 9th of the scale. The scale that I'm building these voicings off of is the C major scale or Ionian Mode. C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. So voicing 1 again, the 3rd, which is E, the 6th, A, and the 9th, D. Option 2 for C major, we're going to start on the 7th note of the scale, or the note B. We're going to go to E, the 3rd, and then A, the 6th. So you have B, E, and A. 7, 3, 6. Option 1, 3, 6, 9. Option 2, B, E, A, or 7, 3, 6. C dominant. The voicings are going to be built off the Mixolydian Mode or the C dominant scale, which is C, D, E, F, G, A, and B flat. So, voicing 1, the 3rd, which is E, the 6th, A, and the 9th, D. E, A, and D. Option 2, we're going to use the 7th of the scale, C dominant scale or Mixolydian Mode, which will be the note B flat, then the note E, and the note A. 7, 3, 6, B flat, E, A. So our two options again, 3, 6, 9, E, A, and D. Option 2, 7, 3, 6, B flat, E, A. C minor. I'm going to be using the Dorian Mode or the C minor scale, which is C, D, E flat, F, G, A, and B flat. So voicing 1 is going to be the root, which is C, the 4th, F, and the 7th, B flat. 1, 4, 7. Voicing option 2, we're going to start on the 5th of the scale or the Dorian Mode, which is G. We're going to go to the root, which is C, and then the 4th or F. So it's the 5th, root, and the 4th, or G, C, F. So C minor options, option 1, 1, 4, 7, C, F, B flat. Option 2, 5th, root, and the 4th, or G, C, F. C half diminished voicings. I'm going to use the Locrian Mode or the C half diminished scale, which is C, D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, and B flat. So half diminish, C half diminish, option 1 is going to be the root, which is C, followed by the 4th, which is F, then the 7th, which is B flat. 1, 4, 7, or C, F, B flat. Option 2 for C half diminished. We're going to start on the 5th, which is G flat, go to the root, which is C, followed by the 4th, which is F. So you have the 5th, root, and the 4th, or G flat, C, F. C diminished. We're going to work off the 7th mode of the harmonic minor scale. That scale consists of these 7 notes: C, D flat, E flat, F flat, G flat, A flat, and B double flat, or the note A. So, option 1 for C diminished is going to be the 3rd, which is E flat, the 6th, which is A flat, followed by the 9th, which is D flat. 3, 6, 9. Option 2 of the C diminished for the C diminished voicing. We're going to start on the 7th. This is a little tricky. The 7th being the note A, the 3rd E flat, and the 6th A flat. So you have 7, 3, 6, or the note A, E flat, A flat. Let me say that again. 7, A, 3rd, E flat, 6, A flat. So for C diminished, we have 2 voicings again. 3, 6, 9, E flat, A flat, D flat, or 7-3-6, which is A, E flat, and A flat. Now keep in mind, when I say the seventh is the note A, I'm doing that for ease. Theoretically speaking, the seventh of the diminished scale is B double flat. Now I want to do a recap of each voicing using only numbers for each voicing option, because I want to draw your attention to some similarities. The major, dominant, and diminished voicings are all built option 1 on the 3rd, 6th, and 9th of the scale. Option 2 off of the 7th, 3rd, and 6th of the scale. So let me say that again. Major, dominant, and diminished voicings, contemporary voicings. Option 1, 3, 6, 9. Option 2, 7, 3, 6. Now the minor and half diminished contemporary voicings utilize the root, 4th, and 7th for option 1, and for option 2, the 5th, root, and 4th. So the major, dominant, and diminished share the same voicing structures, as do the minor and half diminished share the same voicing structures. It is also important to note that each contemporary shell voicing for major, dominant, minor, half diminished, and diminished is built using an interval of a fourth. Did you also notice that the option 1 voicing for major and dominant sounds utilize the exact same notes? Likewise, the option 1 voicing for minor and half diminished use the exact same notes as well. In fact, the more you study these voicings on paper and as you play them, you will begin to notice many similarities and overlap that exist between each of the 12 chord families. Let's listen to how contemporary shell voicings sound when placed into a musical context. Major 3-6-9, 7-3-6, dominant 3-6-9, 7-3-6, minor 1-4-7, 5-1-4, half diminished 1-4-7, 5-1-4, and diminished 3-6-9, 7-3-6. Option 1, option 2 for major. Option 1, option 2 dominant. Option 1, option 2 minor. Option 1, option 2 half diminished. Option 1, option 2 diminished. Here's how they sound with some light comping in the left hand. Now with some improvisation on top of the voicings. Major, option 1, option 2. Dominant, option 1, option 2. Minor, option 1, minor, option 2. Half diminished, option 1, half diminished, option 2. Diminish, option 1, Diminished, Option 2. You can certainly hear how terrific these voicings sound when placed into a musical context, even a musical context that is simply an exercise like the one I just played. But now, let me demonstrate how these contemporary shell voicings sound when utilized in a song. Wow. A beautiful song, tremendous voicings, and a contemporary jazz sound. These voicings are definitely worth the effort to get under your fingers. To begin that process, you have some homework to do. Take some time this week to construct the contemporary shell voicings for the remaining 11 chord families. Remember, paper practice first, physical application second. Taking the time to map out the voicings on paper will pay huge dividends for you when you begin to play them on the piano. Think through all jazz piano scales first before you try to play them. A jazz piano scale must be clearly understood conceptually before you can begin to master it physically. I hope you have found this Jazz Piano Skills podcast on contemporary shell voicings to be beneficial. If you are wanting to study this topic extensively, I encourage you to check out my Jazz Piano Skills curriculum at jazzpianoskills.com. My courses are packed with comprehensive lessons that explore essential jazz piano skills. Each lesson in each course contain detailed instruction and illustrations, in-depth educational talks, interactive learning media, traditional guides and worksheets, high-definition video demonstrations in all 12 keys, play-along tracks and lead sheets, professional and personal educational support, and mobile access to all courses and lessons on any of your smart devices. That's it for now, and until next week, enjoy the journey, and most of all, have fun as you discover learn, and play jazz piano.